Parks Canada claims no records containing warnings from outside experts and individuals about the potential for a catastrophic wildfire in Jasper. Today I'll show you what I asked for and just how ridiculous it is for Parks Canada to make these denials. Today's story is made possible through your generous donations to a special website which offsets our access and filing fees at rebelinvestigates.com. Now, Rebel News filed for records related to the devastating wildfire that tore through Jasper National Park this summer, devastating 30% of the residential town site. The wildfire inside the national park remained under federal management, and it was forewarned for the better part of a decade by experts and locals alike, who said that not enough was being done to clear away the forest in the park, which had been killed by a mountain pine beetle infestation. Now, here's what we asked for from Parks Canada under the purview of Environment and Climate Change Canada. We asked them to provide copies of all documents, including emails, texts, or instant messages, WhatsApp messages, Slack messages, Signal messages, Twitter, etc., all the correspondence, memos, reports, briefing notes regarding any concerns or questions raised about forest management, fire prevention activities, or lack thereof in Jasper National Park from January 1st, 2019 to July 26, 2024. So we clarified our request twice. Once on July 22nd and again on August 2nd. We asked for documentation about forest management related to fires only from outside experts and individuals who had been raising concerns going back to 2017 and 2018. From any representatives of the provincial and municipal governments, and also from specific named individuals: Emil Began, Ken Hodges, Salman Rashid, Richard Ireland, Marie-France Miron, and Marty Up North. And then we gave an example of exactly what we were looking for. Again, we clarified for a third time. We asked them to exclude any copy editing type drafts, including substantive drafts. Now, here's what we got back. They told us that they conducted a thorough review of Parks Canada records and no documents were located in reply to our request.
Quality of life matters. Affording groceries and the basics matters. Ottawa has a different agenda. Their energy production cap will cut your family's budget, which means less money in your wallet. We say let common sense prevail. Tell the feds at scrapthecap.ca.
Now, how is any of this possible? Here's the aforementioned Ken Hodges testifying about the correspondence he sent to Parks Canada at the Environment Committee just a few weeks ago.
Mr. Hodges, in 2017 and 2018, you sent multiple letters to the Minister of the Environment and Parks Canada saying that a catastrophic wildfire in Jasper National Park and that could hit the town was, quote, not a matter of if, but when. In your view, did the Environment Minister, this government, and Parks Canada take your warning seriously?
It's difficult to answer that question because I'm not a mind reader, but based on my experience, they really didn't respond well to us. They kind of pushed back at us, and we've got this. And it was kind of frustrating on our part, that's for sure.
Do you believe, with your 45 years of experience as a professional forester, that if Parks Canada and the government had implemented the detailed recommendations you had sent them in the multiple letters you sent, that the conditions that led to the catastrophic fire that destroyed 1/3 of the town of Jasper would have been mitigated?
If they had completed some strategies around that, and they had 7 years in which to do something and come up with a plan of some sort, I think they could have prevented the loss of Jasper town itself. It's just a matter of time in order to get things done, but they had plenty of time based on what actually did happen. We didn't know when it was going to happen. It finally showed up in 2022.
Now, we've had some members of this committee make the claim that it just wasn't feasible to conduct forest management practices. It was just too big of a task. Based on your experience in forestry, how long would it have taken to implement the program that you recommended to the government? How long would it have taken to have made the effort to mitigate the conditions that led to this fire?
Well, you throw a chunk of equipment at this if you wanted to do, some harvesting. In the Bowen in the late 80s outside of Prince George, they had 400 trucks coming off the road. So they can throw equipment at it to the nth degree if they want to. But if it's available, great. The other option is if they had the window to burn, they could have done some burning and broken down the landscape. And the timelines, they had 7 years to do it. You know, they could have. That was plenty of time to do that.
Okay, thank you. You know, Parks Canada's talked about the 1,700 hectares that they cleared, the control burns that they did. Where would you have done a partial harvest? And were the places that they harvested the best places to protect the town of Jasper?
The work that they did was basically on the west and also on the northeast part where they did some partial harvesting in the mixed stands up there. You know, it was good work. But the question was, would it be enough that they did? They didn't do anything to the south, to my knowledge. And I think if they had done a big chunk of work, because that was the biggest area of mountain pine beetle kill, a solid state right from almost Wabasso all the way right into town. It was all standing dead pretty much. And if they had have done something with that down there and broken that continual fire fuel, then they would have probably prevented the fire from entering Jasper itself, Jasper Down.
Now, where do the prevailing winds usually come in the months where fire is a risk to Jasper? What directions do they come from?
They generally come from the west through the pass out of BC and also to the south. And it depends on whether you have high pressure system and where that sits as well.
In the case of this catastrophic fire, the main force of the fire came from the south, is that
That's
correct?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, there was no significant clear cutting or any mitigation efforts on the south side of Jasper to protect the town?
Not specifically for addressing mountain pine beetle. The answer would be no.
And, you know, with your extensive experience with mountain pine beetle and not knowing what Parks Canada would have known about mountain pine beetle, was there enough done to mitigate and clear the dead brush of mountain pine beetle that would have we've seen like explosions of bark sending embers kilometers away. Was enough done on the south end of the park? I think you've already kind of said that, but.
Yeah, I kind of answered that. And to my knowledge, I'm not aware of any work that had been done to the south outside of when they spent a significant amount of funds redoing, I think it's Wabasso campsite. And there was major work done there.
So they spent a significant amount on a campsite, but not as much on actually protecting the town. Now, in your opinion, you had alluded to this in your remarks, you don't believe that Parks Canada has necessarily the expertise to manage forests in our national park. Can you elaborate on that?
We had a number of meetings with Parks Canada, myself and Mr. Begin. We worked together to kind of send letters out and see what we could do to help with our experience. We did talk to their staff, and it became quite obvious that to us that they just didn't have the experience or the knowledge in relation to the issues that were facing them. The large mountain pine beetle, they did come up with a plan in 2016, and it was basically too little too late on that particular aspect. And I don't think they really understood what was in front of them and the magnitude of the fire that was going to blow up at them because of that.
Do you think that lack of, we've had Parks Canada here, we've had the Minister of Environment here, they claim that everything that could possibly have been done to prevent this, that we had a member tweeting that all the efforts that were made to clear the dead brush were made, that could have been made. Did this government do everything that they could to have prevented these fires from happening? Last 10 seconds.
Very briefly, please, Mr. Hodges.
No. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think they had.
Okay.
Emil Began and Ken Hodges wrote an article in the Jasper paper. They presented their findings to the town, and Parks Canada responded to them in 2017 and 2018. But yet Parks Canada tells us there are no records. They also say there are no records of the Jasper mayor, Richard Ireland, sounding alarm bells. Well, here's the mayor in 2017. Also, they say there are no records of Parks Canada's then conservation manager, Salman Rashid, who said in 2016 it was extremely dangerous to leave so many dead trees in place for so long. Again, the excuse is unbelievable. They say there are no records of town resident Marie-France Miron, who started a campaign in 2018 called Save Jasper, the purpose of which was to compel Parks Canada to mitigate the fire risk. Her campaign included a Facebook page and a demand for a town hall with Parks Canada Superintendent Alan Fair. Parks Canada also claims there are no records of the letters local Marty up north says he sent to Parks Canada staff in this post here. It's absolutely ridiculous and completely untrue for Parks Canada to say that they have no records of correspondence from outside experts and locals warning them of the fire risk since 2017. We asked for records that we know exist, and Parks Canada officials who are better paid and better resourced than ever are telling us they can't find a thing. Maybe the records are where Parks Canada put the plan to get rid of the pine beetle deadfall. If that's the case, then those records are gone forever. All joking aside, we are appealing. Those records exist, and I will get them. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. To help us offset our access and filing fees to get access to records that we know exist from Parks Canada about correspondence from experts they received warning about a Jasper wildfire, please go to rebelinvestigates.com.